Hello, I'm Niall Livesey. This is Test Drive, the show where we go in depth with some of automotive's most unique and interesting cars. Today we're looking at this 1997 BMW 740i. We're going to show you everything about the car, go for a drive, and tell you what you need to know if you're in the market for the ultimate driving machine. This 1997 short wheelbase 740i comes to us originally from Japan until it was imported to Ottawa and then bought by a local enthusiast in the Toronto area. The pre-facelift headlights are more rectangular and include standard halogen projectors and clear corner indicator lamps. The visible jack points and unpainted side skirts have been covered with AC Schnitzer parts, and the original M parallel rims go well with the partial shadowline exterior trim. Around back, the exhaust has been modified to exit out of the bumper rather than hidden like it was from the factory. As this is a pre-LCI model, we find BMW's M62 B44 non-Vanos 4.4-liter V8 under the hood, along with the strut tower connectors for the sport electronic dampening control. Inside, things are familiar, but a little different. For example, the instrument cluster looks the same, however the LCD screen is just a little different, feeling a little more yellow than the other E38s I've driven. The board computer button is also different, having a physical clicking mechanism rather than the soft press on other models. We also find the manual headlight adjustment switch beside the gauge indicator brightness dial. This E38 was equipped with navigation and includes a Mark II CD system in the trunk and the 4:3 aspect ratio display. Along the bottom we have the familiar heated seat controls used for the rear seats with a dial selector instead of 3 predetermined intensities, followed by the automatic stability control button, sport electronic damper control, and the rear sunshade. The HVAC rest button is for residual heat mode, which allows you to direct heated air from the engine bay to the windshield and side windows when the car is off, and the temperature is below 15 degrees Celsius. This car was optioned with the Steptronic transmission, which you can see from the gear lever selector along the side of the lever. The wood trim is in really good condition. Most of the center consoles I've seen have some cracks in them after 20 years. The glove box works, and the additional storage between the front seat armrests is empty, as no phone was available for this car. The driver's door has memory options along the bottom, with window and side mirror controls near the door handle. The back seat controls are slightly different for the Japanese E38, as they include the video I/O ports and the TV button. Those I/O ports could be used to display video from a video player or display the TV signal from the car onto a monitor. The TV button would change the channel when pressed. The rear doors include an ashtray and speaker, along with window switch and door handles. Since this car wasn't optioned with a ski pass-through, we get a larger armrest for the rear passengers. It sits at the same height as the ski version, but has a deeper container for storage and sits closer to the seat when pulled down. I've been asked quite a few times since I've started doing this show to show the differences between a long wheelbase 7 Series and a short wheelbase 7 Series. And luckily we've got both of them here for you today. So I'm going to be showing you everything you need to know between a 740iL and a 740i E38 BMW. Buying a long wheelbase 7 Series in 1997 would have set you back an additional $6,000 or just over $1,000 per inch of additional rear seat legroom the L got you. 5.5 inches of additional space doesn't sound like much, but if you're an executive being chauffeured around town or a 4-foot-tall toddler and like to kick, that extra space is worth it. Visually, it's hard to tell the two apart, even if they're parked side by side, but you can see that the rear doors are longer, especially when you look at the lowermost door trim or the windows. Inside, you won't find too much different aside from the length. Unlike today's 7 Series long wheelbase, you get a lot more features. With the long wheelbase, you get the color-matching footrests that have Velcro-like attachment at the bottom to keep them in place. The side doors have some changes though. The ashtrays are perfect rectangles with the long model, whereas they're slightly oblong with the shorts. Also, long doors come with an additional storage compartment for garbage or sunglasses or something. I haven't found a use for them. And finally, the main selling point is the legroom. Pretty much the entire 5.5 inches is dedicated to extending the space between the rear seats and the front. Considering the doors are different sizes, you won't be able to swap parts as easily for them. Things like the glass, sunshades, and door cards, and the wood trim just won't fit. So keep that in mind if you're looking to buy parts for your E38. Now, let's get back to the full tour and review of this car and get behind the wheel of it. You don't really notice as you're driving the car that it is a shorter vehicle.
right? I mean, how are you really going to tell 5.5 inches of car, right? It looks about the same. I guess that rear window is closer to me than it is in my car, but overall you don't really notice it. Yeah, car certainly pulls the same way that mine does. It's smooth though. Just driving along this road here, like, it's smooth. There's certainly no bumps. You feel them a little bit, but it's smooth. The engine's nice and smooth as we're driving along. Steering is tight. It feels a lot like my car, but I think that this one feels a lot better than my car. This is a relatively bumpy road, but this car, you know, it's nice and smooth. Bumps get eaten up pretty well by the suspension, and it's got the same sport suspension that's on the long wheelbase that you'd find on the sport versions as well. So, you know, it's funny when you get into this car, it really does feel the same as mine, which is, it's good, right? When you get into the same car, you expect it to be the same, and it is. It's nice. It certainly feels like I'm driving my car. This is pretty much the only time I've been able to drive a different 7 Series. It's different. But it feels the same. It feels like, I don't know, I can't quite put my finger on it, but it is funny. I mean, I've driven plenty of cars in my life, and I've driven plenty of different cars of the same model and even the same year, but there's just something very familiar about getting into this, despite the fact that it's a different year and has a little bit different engine and is a shorter version of the car. I could forget that I'm driving somebody else's car right now because it just feels exactly the way that my car feels. I hope you've enjoyed our video on this E38 740i. For more information, or if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. If you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. Your support helps us make this show possible. Until next time, take care.